There we are. We're recording. There we are. Okay.
Okay.
So can you tell us a little bit about your work and how you got involved in acting?
How I got involved in acting?
Yes.
Well, I was living in New York City at the time, and I was modeling, and I got a call from my agent that John Landis, who is a big director. This was in 1985, so I was only 18. And they asked me to come in and meet him for a role in this movie, Spies Like Us. And I had never done any acting other than in school. So I went to meet him, and he thought that I was perfect for this role in this movie, Spies Like Us. So I didn't hear anything about it for a couple of months, and then I was asked to go to Washington to meet him again. So I went to Washington and met him, and he gave me the role. And so I ended up shooting Spies Like Us, and we went to, we shot all the Russia stuff in Norway, and all the interior stuff in Pinewood Studios in London. So that was my entree into the business, and it opened up a lot of doors for me because it was a big studio movie, and it was Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase, and they were really big in the 80s. And so that just opened the doors for me, and I got signed by a big agency, and then I realized I didn't really know what I was doing. So I started studying, and I studied with a teacher in New York called Sandra Lee, and she got me into a wonderful program called the Actors Studio. So I did that for a few years, and I was acting a little bit and doing a lot of commercials and modeling still at that time. And then I ended up moving to LA to do that show, Weird Science, in '93. So for about 5 years, yeah, in between I was still in New York and trying to figure out what I was doing. So yeah, that's how I got into it, yeah.
And how was it on the set of Weird Science? Did you enjoy that role?
I loved it. It was really the first comedy I've ever done, and I wasn't really sure if I was really that good at it, actually. And it was a very long process to get that role. It was probably about 9 separate auditions. So as that process went on, I felt more confident about it. And yeah, it was an amazing show. It was such a fun character, and it's just going to work every day and just doing silly, goofy things. You know, each episode had a different sort of escapist storyline. You know, the premise was basically granting wishes for these 2 teenage boys. So it was a lot of different adventures, and each episode, you know, not each episode, but a lot of episodes I got to play sort of different versions of Lisa, which was my character's name.
Yeah.
And so it was really fun, you know, like sometimes I'd be a teacher, and sometimes I'd be a teenager, and sometimes there was just a lot of different variations of playing Lisa. So that, you know, always kept it interesting and fun.
I think you keep things interesting, and also you'd have to constantly be able to pivot between different roles and as the same character.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a sort of different aspect of I remember one episode I played, it was called Teen Lisa, and I literally played like Lisa as if she was like, you know, 14. so it was really fun, and there was a lot of crazy costumes. Like sometimes there was just every week it was like I'd have to go up to the Universal Studios like costume department and get fitted for some really strange outfit. And in between that, I was usually in like tight dresses or push-up something or other.
Yes.
So it kept it really interesting. It was definitely you never knew what you were going to be up to until you saw the script for that week. So.
And then how did you end up working on Stargate SG-1 as a reoccurring character? What led to that development?
Actually, I had met with MGM TV, and they were MGM did Kingpin, the movie that I did in '96.
Yes, with Jeff Daniels.
Yes, so they were kind of had their eye on me, and so I had a meeting, sort of creative meeting with the MGM TV department, and they were introducing the role of Anise Freya, and so they decided that would be a good match for me. So it kind of happened very easily, actually. and it was I mean, it was a great experience. We showed up in Vancouver, and again, I got to play two different characters because Anise
Yes.
Freya, the host and the symbiote.
Yes. I've always
So
thought that the dual personality aspect would be interesting. So
yes, exactly. And it was strange because they do sort of they change your voice,
yeah.
computer wise. So, but you still have to do the scene and play the dialogue, and then they kind of adjust
Yeah.
it in post production. And going in and out of Anise to Freya, I sort of had this like head movement, so it was very
Yeah.
challenging. And the dialogue for Tokris is really hard to
It
learn.
is.
It's
Yes. It's
almost
like
like
it's
another
kind of got
language.
a bit of a paused lilt to it. So yeah.
Yes, and the structure of the sentence. I mean, the writing on that show is excellent, but
Yeah.
it was definitely very challenging to learn the dialogue because
Yeah.
it's not sort of how regular people speak. So
No.
you have to sort of adjust your brain to that new way of speaking. So, but it was great
Yes.
fun, and I met my best friend Musetta on that show.
Yes.
So that was a great part of it.
And so,
Yeah.
what are some of your upcoming projects that you're working on and currently?
Well, actually, right before the pandemic, I was working on two movies. I was doing a movie for PureFlix called Courting Mom and Dad with Scott Baio and Christy Swanson. And I was also doing a movie called 37 Weeks about this. And it is actually following the writer-director's real-life pregnancy. So she's pregnant right now.
Oh,
And shooting, almost like, remember that movie Boyhood? Although that was over 12 years, I think. But this is sort of
yeah.
over the duration of her
Yeah.
pregnancy. So I was doing that, and we actually ended up doing. She changed some of the scenes to FaceTime phone calls so that I could shoot some of it
Yeah.
remotely, which is really strange. The first time I've ever done a movie where there's not like a crew in the room. Like
Yeah.
we actually literally did the scene talking on the phone, and actually Musetta helped me with that, and she
Yeah.
filmed me talking on the phone. So yeah,
I
so I'm
think
doing
with
those two movies.
I think
And
with the virus, there's going to be a lot more films made like that, at least for a while.
yeah, I mean, that's one of the sort of worrying things about what's happening for my industry is not knowing how
Yeah.
you get a crew and a set, because it's very hard to be 6 feet apart from people when you're shooting a
Yes.
TV show or a movie. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure how they're going to work that out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've still got to finish both of those movies. So as soon as we can get back on a set again, I guess I will complete those. And then last year I was doing a show for Bratz TV, which is its own YouTube network, and which was founded by this guy who wanted to create content for young Instagram, what do you call them? What do you call them? Influencers.
Yeah.
So I was literally working with 16-year-olds who already have like 2.5 million followers. So that was interesting. I was like the oldest person on the set. So, but it was really good. It was actually set. It was called Crown Lake, and it was set in the early 90s, and it's set in a boarding school, and I played a teacher and the mom of one of the boys. So that was really fun.
Oh,
And I'm trying to think what else I have going on. Yeah. Oh, and I have actually a movie coming out right now called Hot Water that I did with Trevor Donovan and Max Adler, that I shot in Lake Havasu last year, and that's actually coming out like any day. So
wonderful. And will
streaming.
that be uploaded to your social so people can stay in touch?
Yeah, I have posted a promo of it the other day,
Yeah.
but I'm actually about to do a campaign for them. They're going to do like an Instagram campaign. But I
Perfect. I'll
think
include
it's
a link to your social account so people can follow below the recording here. So
okay, great. So like an action comedy. It's kind of like a throwback to like an 80s action comedy. So it's about jet skiing. It's about this kid who wants to be a champion jet skier. So they actually shot around the real jet ski competition in Lake Havasu that they have every year.
yeah.
So it was fun. It's really fun.
Okay. And then if somebody would like to get an autograph during the convention, they can just get a hold of us here at collaborationcomiccon
Sure.
@gmail.com. and then we will get the information for you, and you can send them 8 by 10. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also below the video, there is a link for Patreon to support the COVID fund and the guests for this event, just so everyone who's watching this knows. And thank you so much, Vanessa, for coming online
Oh,
today to do this. So we were
thank
so
you
glad
so
to
much.
have you.
It was great talking to you, and stay safe and stay healthy, and sending my love to you.
Okay. And we'll talk to you at the live chat tonight with Musetta.
Yes.
So
Yes. Okay.
bye.
Bye.
Oops.